Welcome back to the Dropback Podcast. As always, joined by my co-host Zane. How are you doing today, Zane?
Good. I've been watching a lot of film lately on just prospects and just overall teams in general. How about yourself?
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of film. Been watching what we're talking about today as well. Um, yeah, and I got a new book about the about like defense and stuff. It's how to read defense because I want to get into all of that. But yeah, yeah.
Maybe we could send that book to maybe Kenny Pickett. Maybe he
All
can learn
right,
how
all
to
right,
read a
all right.
defense this
This is his
offseason.
year. This is his year. um, but yeah, yeah. Nothing. Yeah, I've been pretty good. Nothing else. Yeah,
Good.
really.
Um, I'm gonna announce this now. We are doing a little mini series over the next couple weeks where we're going deep dive in to what we think may happen with each team, or like our thought process overall with each team, and we're going division by division. We're starting with the NFC South, and the first team we're going to be doing is the
Yeah.
Panthers. So, Bradley, do you want to start us off with the Panthers?
Yeah, the Panthers are the worst team, or was the worst team this year, and it shows on film, and it shows really everywhere. They don't have a bright spot on this team that I noticed. I mean, maybe edge rusher, maybe kinda. Eh, co-
Kind of, I'd
corner.
say. Their corner room.
Yeah,
I mean, their corner room
yeah.
isn't
J.C.
bad
Horn
either,
is good when healthy. Um,
but that's
yeah, like
never.
that's yeah. You have a better chance of Kenny Pickett being good than J.C. Horn being healthy for a whole season. Um,
I don't know about all
but
that.
I just think with the Panthers, they just need to. They traded up for their guy this year or last year. They committed to Bryce Young. So I say this offseason you build around him. You get a good guard on the offensive line. I mean Kevin Settler's out there. Get a wide receiver as well. I think wide receiver and um, offensive line are two positions you need. I think this offseason you should focus more on the offensive side of the ball because you're more worried about Bryce Young's development. And they're clearly worried about Bryce Young's development because they've hired David Cano, however you say his last name.
Yeah, I know it's
Uh,
a weird last name, but he's I think he's a great
yeah,
coach
he
hire.
he helped Baker Mayfield last year. So
He helped Gino before
yeah,
too.
so he's a positive. He's a positive. Yeah, and their free agency this year, they should sign back absolutely no one except Brian Burns. And honestly, if you let Brian Burns
I agree.
walk, oh well.
Huge
I mean,
mistake in
yes,
my
okay,
opinion
he is a great edge rusher.
because they could have. They okay. My thought process is they were offered two first for him at one point. They were offered him instead of DJ Moore in the trade with the Bears last year. And so at this point, if you're not going to re-sign him, what was the point of not just keeping DJ Moore over him? So at this point, you kind of have to
Yeah,
re-sign him
but also the Panthers aren't really in a position. I wouldn't give him crazy money. I would give him definitely some money, but not some crazy money because you still have to build around. You still have to be.
I don't think break the bank for sure. Not you're not breaking the bank.
Yeah, no. I mean, he's a good.
I'll give him towards top five, but not top five
Yeah, I think he's definitely a good edge rusher, but just not bank breaking worthy.
for sure. Which I think him and another edge rusher, Josh Allen, might try to do this offseason. But I don't see either of them doing it unless the
Yeah,
team
in
wants to
in this
overpay.
offseason, you can't rebuild a team in one offseason. So I think you should focus on the offensive side of the ball because you have a young quarterback
For
on
sure.
the offensive side of the ball. So you need to build around the guy you traded this year's first and last year's first for. So
Yes. And
and
then a
DJ
couple
Moore,
other
yeah.
picks in there and DJ Moore.
But yeah, yeah, You?
I just had a couple thoughts. Like some guys they could sign. I don't think they sign anybody major. I don't think they make any big signings this offseason. They only have 28 million in cap space. That can change. They could free up somewhere. But I don't think they sign any super high level prospects. But some of the guys I wrote down, so some of them were T Higgins and Mike Evans were the two high level prospects. T Higgins, he's from Carolina. He went to college in Carolina. Mike Evans, his head coach, is now, or his offensive coordinator is now the head coach there. So that makes sense. Some other guys that I thought maybe just, maybe they want to be on their own team and make a name for themselves was like Gabe Davis. He's the wide receiver. I think they probably are going to sign this offseason. He's my prediction, just because he's not going to break the bank. He's not going to be super cheap, but he's also just, I think he'll be on a good deal this year. And I think they'll more focus on the offensive line, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, you're talking about signing Gabe Davis, and he's not a wide receiver one in my opinion.
Definitely not.
And they
Definitely
need,
not. I think he's a two.
yeah, they need a wide receiver one this offseason, and they don't have that guy. I mean, Adam Thielen was decent, but he's like 33, 34.
He's 30. Yeah, he's like
He's 30.
33.
He's gonna be
I
34.
just like the Gabe Davis signing because he's. I feel like he'll help Bryce stretch the field a little bit, which I felt like they were lacking this year.
Yeah, and they
And
could sign a running back this year, or they
true,
should.
that's true.
They're
Chuba Hubbard, he's not great. I feel like he was their top guy this year. Everybody thought Miles Sanders might be, but that didn't seem to come to fruition. They do have the first pick in the second round. Do you have any notes on maybe what you think they might do there?
I did a little mock draft, and I had them drafting Troy Franklin in the second round.
I
Yeah.
like that pick a lot.
Um,
I wrote down a couple guys at that pick. Were like what they could do, or at least maybe not just at that pick, but later on at wide receiver as well. Franklin was my top guy right there. Leggetti out of South Carolina. I wrote his name down because such an explosive player when you watch him
and
on film.
wait, is he the
And
older
then I
guy?
wrote that
Leggetti's.
I think he's
Oh,
23.
okay.
I believe he's 23. So he's kind of the older guy of the group. And then I also wrote down Lad McConkey. I feel like he could just be a reliable wide receiver for a young quarterback like Bryce Young.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, definitely build around Bryce Young this year. That's if I'm
For sure.
Carolina, my goal. We got our coach. Um, we gotta give it. We gotta give Bryce Young pieces because
I agree.
he had nothing this year. Absolutely nothing. The defensive side of the ball, not really much you can do.
I mean, re-sign
Uh,
Burns, like we mentioned. They might need another corner. Just because Horn can never stay healthy, you might just need another corner. Not saying top tier guys, but I'm saying like guys you wouldn't have to pay, just not top tier dollar guys. So maybe just some names I saw that were free agents were Adoree Jackson, Mosley, Steven Nelson, and now he was a rookie this past year, but I thought he did pretty well. Alex Austin, he was with the Patriots this past year and kind of showed up in the last couple weeks. He might be just an easy pickup.
yeah. 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 I mean, I don't have much else to say about the Panthers because they're just tremendously bad. They are a really,
Help Bryce.
yeah, yeah. I
That's all we
hope
can
Bryce Young. That's all I gotta say for the Panthers.
draft some O linemen, sign some O linemen, sign some wide receivers, draft some wide receivers, and then beef up that defense a little bit. And that's all they really
Yeah,
can do.
that's like if you have an five, I would say 6 to 8 winning game season, it's a success this year. It's a,
I agree. I think if Bryce Young, if he has a successful year, it's a successful year. The record doesn't even have to be great, in my opinion. If Bryce Young has a good year,
Yeah.
it's a good year because that means you have your quarterback for sure.
What do you call a successful year for a year two
Man,
quarterback?
okay. Probably almost 4K yards. I'd say 20, 26, 27 touchdown range and like less than 13 interceptions.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
Yeah.
a fair adjustment for year 2 compared to year 1. Considering I don't think they'll have any top talents on that team to make it like over the top, I feel like that's successful with what they'll probably put around him this
Yeah.
offseason.
Bryce Young's numbers were tremendously bad this year.
It's unfortunate.
But I
True.
don't blame him. I mean, I don't blame Bryce Young. He's just a rookie.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he didn't even pass. Wow, I didn't think it was as bad as it was. He didn't throw for a touchdown in 4 weeks from the 26th of November to December 17th. In those 4 games, he didn't throw a single touchdown. I mean, I'm not going to bash him for that because his best wide receiver was Adam Thielen. His wide receiver, two, was Jonathan Mingo, and I don't believe he was being used right this offseason. So I would also love for them to start using him out of the slot like he should be and using him more on the inside routes instead of the out, like the upper side
Yeah.
routes.
Okay. So we like people do say like, oh, he's just a rookie, but how much? But people will say like, oh, if they're just a rookie, then if they're good, they will show progression this year. And did you think Bryce Young showed progression or like showed highlights?
See, he showed superstar moments, at least in my opinion. Like the Green Bay game, I feel like he actually showed out really well in that game. They might, you know, they didn't win, but I thought Bryce Young played phenomenal in that game, and that game showed me that he could be the guy. And he threw picks in this game, but the Detroit game early on, I thought again he could be that guy. So I think he definitely showed it this year. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I mean, I wrote down in my notes, is Bryce Young that guy? And I don't know. I don't know if Bryce Young's this guy. Um, he definitely did show some highlights this year, but like I don't know how much I trust him. He is good. I do think that. Um, and I think you do build around him. So like year two will really ask me in a year and I'll know my answer for sure if Bryce Young's this guy.
For sure.
Um, but yeah, you have any more thoughts on the Panthers?
You agree. Um, no, I think that's just draft your, just draft for offense, protect Bryce, help
Yeah,
Bryce, and
yeah.
they'll be
If you
good.
just draft good this year, you'll be better than last year.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that. You can say that for every team for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Gonna get on to our next
you
team.
wanna, yeah, I think let's move on
All
to the
right. Yeah,
Bucks.
the division winners.
Um,
They were the division winners.
yeah, I think yeah, they made the playoffs, and I didn't think they would. I doubted. I didn't think they would win the division. I didn't think they'd be that great a team. I wasn't a big fan of Baker to start the year.
It was basically the
But
same
I'll admit
team.
I missed. I was glad that I missed because I'm happy Baker succeeded.
Yeah. It's basically the same team with Brady, but with a worse quarterback.
Very true. It was like Brady and that last year that they had
Yeah,
him. Almost, I feel
yeah. They had the same record too.
like. That's
So
true.
is Baker as good as Brady? That's the real question we should be asking.
No, never. Absolutely not. No,
um,
never.
but one thing I did write down is for the Bucks, do you just tank? And honestly, I would not hate the Bucks for tanking because the defensive side of the ball is kind of older. The wide receiver group behind Godwin and Evans is pretty bad, and Evans is a free agent. So I don't know. Maybe try to trade Godwin this offseason.
See, I don't know. I don't think they're the team that tanks in this division. We'll talk about them later, but that's tough. Actually, that's a good question to
because
raise.
because
They got money. They got 36 million, and they can restructure a lot of this, so they can
yeah
add more money. They'll be re-signing Baker. I think they let Evans go. Um, they'll probably draft a young wide receiver. I'd expect in like the first or
yeah
second round to replace him.
their interior offense.
But the team's age, they kind of need like the interior offensive line, like guards and centers. Was he a second round pick out of Cody Mooch? I don't know.
Yeah,
He was awful this past year at guard. Um, so they definitely need a guard, and their center did retire, so they do need a center. You do raise a good question, though. Is do they not actually tank, but like, could I see it
yeah,
happening? For sure.
because like I don't think the Bucks should re-sign Baker. Like the ultimate goal in the NFL is to win a Super Bowl, and Baker's just not bringing you to the Super Bowl. So you're either gonna be middle of the road the next year if you re-sign Baker, or even a little worse if Evans doesn't come back. Or just take this year and next year off and just try to rebuild. Um, yeah, like
See, yeah, I can see that, but every team, no player is going to want to not win. So every team, I think, is going to try and compete. I think here are my predictions right now. I think they re-sign Baker. I think they sign a wide receiver, not Evans, but like one of the lower end guys, just so their wide receiver room isn't as abysmal. I guys I wrote down were I guess they aren't the greatest, but Samuel or Curtis Samuel, Shepard, I think he could fit. They kind of need just a wide receiver. Van Jefferson, feel like he deserves another shot with a team. This is not my favorite player, but Claypool. I think he could get signed. I feel like those are the wide receivers I could see them signing this offseason. And then when I mentioned how they could probably draft one, I could see them drafting Brian Thomas out of LSU or maybe Keon Coleman out of Florida State.
yeah, yeah. I feel like if you do resign Mike Evans, your bigger need is um interior offensive line. It's the bigger need.
For sure.
But yeah, um, trying to think.
The name I wrote down, center, actually was Connor Williams, the Dolphins free agent center.
Yeah,
Because you got to place your center, and otherwise everything's going to fall apart.
true. Yeah,
And I don't know if you trust a rookie, but there's Van Pran and then Frazier. So if they want to draft a rookie, they could go with one of
what
those
pick do
guys.
they have?
Right now, I believe 19.
Maybe Jackson
Um,
might fall. Oregon center. Um,
oh, that'd be. I could see him falling. I could see him falling right into
I
their
mean,
lap.
this year's draft is very
Oh,
unpredictable.
I'm way off on their pick. They have the 26th pick. Excuse me, I was way off. For some reason, I had them mixed up. So they have the 26th pick, and actually, right now, couple mock drafts I've seen actually have them picking Jackson Powers Johnson. So
Um,
that center definitely be perfect.
yeah. Wait, what
Do you think
pick? What pick did you say they have?
26?
26. What?
Well, keep in mind they did make it second round of the playoff
Oh, yeah, they
because
did.
Baker's that guy. But
Quote unquote.
quote unquote. Yes. Oh, one major re-signing I think needs to happen is re-sign
Yeah,
Winfield. They have to
100%.
re-sign
Yeah,
Winfield.
he's your best defensive player.
He's definitely one of them. Oh, another guy I had them re-signing is either re-sign Levante David or re-sign White. You know, their linebacker group this offseason's taking a hit because a lot of them are free agents. They got to re-sign one of their veteran leaders and then maybe, replace them either via draft or trade or signing.
Yeah,
Definitely needs to be fixed up. I also think they might need to use an off the ball linebacker and maybe Uche. I'll throw out Uche. He's a free agent. He's not bad. He had a great year in 22. He didn't have a great year this year though, but I think he didn't do as well because he didn't have Judon to back him on the other side. So
yeah. Patrick Queen is a free agent. Um,
wouldn't be terrible. I don't know, but he's gonna get top dollar.
yeah,
So I feel like he's not really in their not really in their area of right now. I feel like they also might need another corner. You know, I wrote down Adoree Jackson again, Sneed, um, Christian
Jalen
Fulton,
Johnson.
Alex Austin, Jalen Johnson. But some of the guys are top tier dollar guys, so it's just like it's hard to say that they'll go out and get them because they don't have a lot of money. I mean, 36 million, sure, but you also got to spend like I forget how much it is on your rookies. It's usually like about 11 million on the rookies. So, and I guess they can restructure some of their guys, but you got to re-sign Baker. I feel like that's probably going to be their biggest signing this offseason is re-signing
And
Baker.
Baker is just not your guy.
He's not he's not the greatest. I mean, I have him ranked right inside the top 20.
Yeah, yeah, he's a
Personally,
middle of the road guy. Uh,
I have him at 17
but but
for
you
next year.
need him. But you need a top of the guy quarterback to win the Super
True, but
Bowl.
you got to look. Yeah, we were talking
Yeah,
about that
yeah, we
earlier, weren't
were.
we? I guess all the recent years, I think only three guys weren't really considered top
Yeah, it
10.
was like Flacco,
Flacco,
Foles.
Foles, and who was the quarterback for? I guess there might have been four. Who was the quarterback for y'all when y'all won the Super Bowl in '04
Bro,
or
no
'05?
way you're disrespect. No.
It's blanking me right now. It's blanking me right now.
The fact that no, that is so disrespectful. Say,
It's just leaving my
dude,
mind. It's
the
leaving my mind.
greatest Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback to ever play.
It wasn't
It was
Roethlisberger.
Roethlisberger.
It was
He
Roethlisberger.
was the
Oh, I'm so
young.
sorry. For some reason, that's right. He was. Who was the? Oh, did we ever figure out who the 2000 the Ravens
Oh yeah, it was
quarterback
like
for
some
their Super Bowl?
blank dude.
But yeah, there was only like four guys that weren't really top 10 guys, or three guys that weren't top 10 when they won Super Bowls. I found that was definitely interesting.
Yeah, you need. Yeah, in my opinion, the Bucks should just tank, tank, quote unquote.
But it's such a question mark for 2025's quarterback group right now. Nobody really sees one as like that
Yeah, but
guy
but
right now. So do you want to risk that?
Kyle Trask. I mean, I'm not saying.
That's right.
I mean, I'm not saying Kyle
No,
Trask is your guy or anything, but
you'd upset a lot of players with that though, because they're gonna want to win, and the team loves Baker.
yeah, they do.
So I don't think they let Baker
And I
go
think Baker has the edge on in free agency too. Like,
for sure. I mean, him and Cousins are probably the best two free agent quarterbacks. I'd say maybe Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's in there
yeah,
too. I mean, he's not officially a free agent yet, but he's most likely going to be.
yeah,
So
he's gonna.
it's definitely
I'm
listening.
afraid he's gonna get like a Daniel Jones fraud contract or a
With
yeah.
Baker, I could see
Yeah,
it.
which is like I don't know. I feel like especially over the years, like people overpay for quarterbacks and they'll be like, "Oh, Baker, please
Yeah,
don't
it
leave.
definitely
Please
reason.
don't leave. Like we need you."
I think, yeah, they probably will overpay him a little bit, but then he seems like the type of guy to restructure. And he also just seems super humble, so he might take a little less.
College
Um,
Baker Mayfield would disagree.
he was built. He was
Yeah.
built different.
Um.
uh,
Yeah, Baker seems like a cool guy. The real question is,
yeah.
would you go out with Baker and just hang out with him?
Oh yeah, for sure. Baker seems like a
Well,
great dude
that
to hang
means the
out with.
Bucks should re-sign him then, in my opinion. If you
I
want to
agree.
go out and hang
I
out with
agree.
him, go get dinner, watch a little movie, you should definitely re-sign the guy 110%, no matter how good they are.
Oh, Baker just seems like I feel like right now for the Bucks, they competed with Baker, so why change that? I don't feel like he was really at fault for the performance in
Oh,
their
it was
last
the
game.
drops. It was like,
Oh yeah, so I feel like if you get Baker back, you might be with how weak the NFC is, you could maybe compete again with Baker. That's my
yeah,
thought process. So as long as you're competing truly, I think you're
yeah,
okay.
especially in a very weak division like this. Because the only teams that will compete next year are, I don't know, one or two other teams in this division, and competing
I would,
is like you have to get
I'd say
9
one.
wins. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say Falcons are really the only huge threat for me right now. I'll get into why I don't think the Saints are in a little while, but
Yeah,
I feel like Saints are the only real threat in the division at the moment. So for as long as you can easily take the division, I think Baker's your guy.
but then you might fall into the trap of just being mid like the Saints did.
Yeah, like the Saints. Yeah, that's definitely a trap they could
Yeah.
fall into. But they aren't as dumb with their money as the Saints are. Well, are they really dumb with their money if they fix it every year?
No. No, they're not. Actually, I think they still playing Derek Carr, or not Derek Carr, what's his name? Drew Brees.
Uh, no, they're not. They are not paying Drew Brees. That is 2 years gone.
Okay.
So it is like no excuse. They're just paying way too many people way too much money.
Who are the Saints? Well,
Uh,
actually, we're already talking about them. You want to get into the Saints?
yeah. They have negative 83 million in cap space. Uh, to me, I think they're screwed this offseason. I think we could see them being a bottom three team in the NFL next year with a top three pick on the way.
Hey, how many times? Or I believe people said that last year too.
They've said it every year,
Yeah,
I'm sure, but it's gotta happen. It's just gotta happen.
they're
Like
due.
it's bound to happen at some point. So until it does, I'll keep
They're
saying it.
due to be a
They are beyond due.
bottom three team.
And this is way too far in the future, but one of their needs is quarterback, in my opinion. I don't think Carr's that guy. So you've dropped top three pick. Whoever that quarterback is, I believe maybe Ewers would be the guy as of right now that has gotten talks way early on. So maybe grab Ewers.
Yeah,
I don't know,
or get a day two
but
guy.
that's true. They could definitely do that this year. I could see that. They're going to be very draft heavy, I feel like, this year. A lot of restructuring is going to happen this offseason, and a lot of releases I could see. I think one of the releases I put down was Michael Thomas. Just due to that contract and
Well,
how he's
he's a free
played.
agent this year.
He is? I could have sworn he was on the roster for 24.
I am pretty sure he's a free agent. Let me look. What? uh,
He is not a free agent. He's due 12 million this upcoming year.
Well, never mind. Never mind. Um,
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna have to restructure or just cut him and cut the losses on him.
yeah, yeah, he hasn't been himself.
He's just older. He's not playing up to contract. Um, I think things finally do crumble for them this offseason. I think it's going to be very draft
Yeah,
heavy
I feel like they're just
for
going to be
them
an
as well.
average team.
I don't even see average. Looking at the roster, it's very it feels very subpar in a lot of
Okay, I don't
areas.
even want to say
Um,
average, but just like yeah,
because I mean, Carr did not play well this past year, in my opinion.
he did.
I feel like he was like a bottom 10 quarterback, and I feel like that's probably going to continue to be the case this offseason or this next season. So quarterback play combined with just talent on the roster, I think, is why they're probably going to just drop off and finish with a top 3 pick.
Yeah.
I think I actually did write down for a draft. They need to go offensive line in the first round because their line was not the greatest.
Yeah, their line is a big problem. Wide receiver, edge
Wide receiver 2 for
pass,
sure.
the pass rush was really bad.
Yeah, they need D line wasn't great. Their corner room I feel like needs help. Running back to me, with how old Kamara's getting, I feel like they might need a guy
Yeah, he's gonna be 29.
on roster. Yeah, he's hit that spot, and off the field issues too with him. I feel like that might change things up.
Yeah. And 29 is usually the age of when running backs go downhill.
It is, especially with what all he does, so how much he uses his body. Um, did you have anything like draft wise, especially written down, like any prospects you think might fit them?
I mean, definitely O line. What pick do they have?
Yeah. Let me see. It's towards the top. It's pick
Okay,
14.
pick 14. They could get a. I could definitely see a O line falling like Joe Alt. Uh, definitely a tackle. I feel.
I think the Oregon State tackle maybe, or
Yeah.
um, Mims out of Georgia maybe as well. Another name that I
Zane.
can think
Zane,
of.
how do you feel about Georgia offensive linemen?
I'm not a fan. As of past signings with Georgia tackles for my team, I'm not a fan. Isaiah Wynn, you're a bum if you're hearing this, but that's my
That's
thoughts.
crazy to call them out.
That's my thoughts on. I can never trust a Georgia lineman, and especially after seeing Isaiah. I think it was Isaiah Wilson, the other Georgia tackle. Well, outside of this past draft, recent memory, he was a complete bust for the Titans. So I'm not a fan of Georgia tackles. I know. Broderick Jones looks
Yeah.
good, so I'll give it time. But as of right now, I cannot trust a Georgia tackle.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. There's nothing else for me that I can think of. For the Saints, at least. Um.
My thing is, it's time to just fix yourself back at cap and just let it all go. Let yourself suck. Be the bottom of the division this next year and fix your team in the long run. Give Olave a real quarterback eventually and give yourself a wide receiver 2 to pair with him this offseason. Because they are losing Thomas and based on what I'm saying. So just it's time to let the cap hit.
Yeah. Yeah. This could be a team that tanks this year.
They were the team for sure that I thought would tank in this division. I mean, not. truly tank, but like the parentheses version of tanking. Like they're just not going to be good.
Yeah.
Um,
And
any last
um,
thoughts?
bringing back Dennis Allen didn't like.
I didn't like that either. I felt like he needed to go. I feel like it's a clean slate this next off season. Long shot, maybe a hot take, but I think they clean house.
Yeah, you gotta for sure get you gotta like if this year it doesn't go right, or if you don't make the playoffs this year, you gotta clean clean the house.
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, Now the exciting team in the division. Do we want to get onto them?
Yes,
I feel like they're the most exciting team in the division, at least in my
yeah.
opinion, because the talent on the roster.
The thing with the Falcons is I wanted them to sign Mike Vrabel for the fact that they could use Bijan like Henry, get a game manager quarterback like Ryan Tannehill, and do that play action run heavy offense. But they didn't. They got Raheem
That's
Morris,
fair.
and I am okay with that signing.
Yeah,
Raheem Morris can he I think he'll be good. I think he'll be good. The most important thing
he was actually wasn't he their coach at one point in
he
the past as
was
well?
he was.
Yeah.
The most important thing is they won't be using their backups a lot. That is the most.
Yeah, now he's onto the
And
Steelers.
a
So,
positive, he's from the McVay tree. And anywhere in the McVay
oh
tree.
yes, and the offensive coordinator they got, I like him a lot actually. So I'm excited for that.
Oh,
He's from the Mookie tree too, so I could see, Bijan getting used right.
yeah. But their need is wide receiver, and obviously edge rushers.
Yeah,
I feel like I've said edge rusher for
yeah.
every
I have
team.
wide receiver two written down. Yeah, this division's edge rushers are going to be like a lot of them are free agents. I feel like that's the issue.
Yeah, and the
Um,
Falcons pass or edge rush has been bad. It was bad last year.
yeah, I have my three biggest needs right now are for them. I have written down are quarterback, wide receiver two, edge, and D tackle. I feel like those are the four biggest needs really. Those are kind of just the needs I feel like are the biggest. Quarterback, the guys I have written down, Kirk Cousins, of course. I mean, top free agent quarterback. Second, I wrote down Russell Wilson, and third, I wrote down Tannehill. So those are the three quarterbacks I think maybe be like, yeah, we'll have a starting job here. I think we could do good, and they kind of. I don't know about Russ, but I think the other two kind of fit the scheme.
Yeah, I say you draft a guy. I don't know what you can get at 8. Do you trade up? Yeah,
Probably
I would. I would. If you really want your guy. Um,
Jaden
I
Daniels.
like Jaden Daniels. I like
So do
Jaden
too.
Daniels, especially to the Falcons.
Yeah, I don't know if he makes it. I don't know if he makes it that far, or like even in a trade up. I don't think he makes it
Yeah,
that far. I feel like he gets snagged before then because the top three teams are very quarterback needy.
yeah. I mean,
Which then they can get Fields.
yeah, you could get Fields. That would be a nice little matchup. Yeah, I like Fields to the Falcons. Um,
I think probably maybe for like
second.
a second round pick or maybe like a third and a sixth for Fields feels fair.
Yeah,
Um, Other quarterbacks I could see them trading for. I wrote down it's sad that the entire class outside of Trevor Lawrence is on here, but I wrote down maybe Mac Jones for a fourth or fifth, Zach Wilson or Trey
no.
Lance for
Oh
a
my
fourth or fifth as
gosh.
well.
Just
Yeah, I feel or fit
just stick
the entire
just
class.
stick to Desmond Ritter at that point. There's no reason to trade for those guys. If you're trading for
Maybe the coaching prefers them. You never know.
oh no. No, that would be terrible. I mean, Trey
Be
Lance,
terrible. Trey Lance, we never got to
yeah,
really see.
he's still a
So
rookie.
he's up in the air.
He's basically still a rookie.
He in my mind is a rookie. Zach Wilson, he's the worst of the four that I listed. But yeah, it's not great. And the reports coming out of the locker room from the Patriots is Mac Jones is kind of a toxic teammate. So I don't know if I foresee that one happening,
Yeah, I saw that.
but it's definitely something to look
Yeah,
for.
I saw that Bailey Zappi, his rookie year, would sit in the wide receiver film room.
It's
I don't
so
know how
unfortunate.
true that is, but that's crazy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, you definitely need to get a quarterback this offseason. There's
I also wrote down JJ McCarthy. Sorry. That's just another guy that came to my mind.
yeah.
It's a little early at 8, but it's just a guy that
Yeah,
came
I
to
mean,
mind.
I've been seeing JJ McCarthy top 5, top 6.
I did see one. Yeah, I have seen some crazy mocks like
But but
that.
the
I don't know. It's also going to be
but
telling.
the NFL is really liking JJ McCarthy right now.
Apparently so.
Um,
I do too, but
yes, we do. I feel like we talk about JJ McCarthy about every episode.
I feel like his name's come up at some point.
Yeah.
I know I've heard that some of our viewers don't like him, but sorry, he comes up.
Yeah, especially Ohio State fans don't like him. It was a
Yep,
tough year to be an Ohio State fan.
for sure,
And
for sure.
JJ McCarthy, yeah. Um,
It was good.
yeah, I mean,
I also wrote down wide receiver 2, like you mentioned earlier. Um, I feel like wide receiver, they have Drake London. That's their wide receiver 1. They need another guy. Guys I wrote down, and I hate to see him, there was Kendrick Bourne, Tyler Boyd, uh, Curtis Samuel, DJ Chark, Gabe Davis, and then Darnell Mooney were all the guys that I wrote down. That could maybe be like a wide receiver 2 role for that team.
or I mean, or you go out and get T. Higgins.
They don't really have the money for him though. They only got 25 million.
But I mean,
And who says T. Higgins would want to go to a team without a quarterback? Like a
the
guaranteed a quarterback
projected contract is 1 year, 20.7 million.
for
Yeah.
T. Higgins. Well, I think I've heard the rumor that he might get re-signed, like a franchise
Uh,
tag for the Bengals.
yeah. What about Michael Pittman?
So I think that's why.
Pittman?
Michael Pittman. I feel like not too similar to London, but I feel like it's similar enough to where it's just like you really don't want those same kind of guys on the field. You need more of a speedster kind of threat.
Ridley?
Marquise Brown, Ridley'd work too. Marquise Brown, I think that'd work as well. Now that I said speedster, I feel like he'd work. DJ Chark definitely more fits the mold. I wrote down some rookies as well. Uh, Jeremiah Thrash, he showed out at the Senior Bowl. Jalen McMillan, he didn't have a great year this year, but the year before he was electric. Jermaine Burton, these are all speedster wide receivers in the draft. I just feel like could work. They're field stretchers, and it's a need. So
Yeah.
guys, I could see them
Yeah,
drafting.
Tez Walker, if you're talking about a fast guy.
Yeah, well, Tez isn't the fastest of the group.
Wait,
He wouldn't be bad though.
who am I thinking of?
You might be thinking of Tez. I don't know if Tez has been more of a downfield threat this year, so I could
Yeah,
see
like a
that.
deep ball. And you also have Kyle Pitts.
True, true. He's basically the wide receiver too, if they actually use him. Of course, the coach did not say him in the interview, so I don't know. Could have been a bad look.
Yeah, maybe they're pushing the Jonnu Smith narrative.
Maybe. I don't know. I could see them releasing him this offseason just for cap purposes. I think they get like 10 million for him or something crazy.
I mean,
Um, yeah, I did have a re-signing, which was Calais Campbell. He needs to be. If he does not retire, he needs to be
Dude, this
re-signed
man is
immediately.
38. I mean, he's playing fantastic.
No way. That is awesome. He played like a beast last year for
No, I
38.
know. Like, that's
Goodness.
the thing.
They need to. Wow. I think edge rusher at 8 if they don't draft a quarterback is probably most likely scenario. Then
Um, yeah,
because I mean, let's say Kimmel retires, you're gonna need a guy. Dallas Turner's available. Jared Verse. Those are like probably the top two guys on most boards right now. I could see one of them being their pick at 8.
um,
Oh, okay. I'm bringing this back up because they need defensive tackle. There are some good guys. DJ Reader, maybe go Kinlaw or Tart or Daquan Jones, one of those guys, just to help beef out that pass rush and that run game to help out the help stop the run.
yeah. Or of course, draft a guy. You know,
Of course,
drafting
yes.
a guy. But yeah.
Oh, who's that guy we like out of Texas?
Sweat.
Sweat, yeah, that'd be a good one.
He's a Vince Wilfork type guy.
Oh, I don't know about all that now. That's crazy talk right there.
Just doing it because of size. Just because.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess. Oh, I didn't even think about this. Do they really have any corners besides Terrell?
I,
I can't think of a corner. They might need corner bad. Now that I'm actually like thinking about it, I mean, they could re-sign Okuda.
yeah, yeah. Let me look. Let me look. Clark Phillips, Nathan Brooks,
Okay.
Mike Hughes.
Yeah, I think they might need one.
Yeah, they definitely
It's a need.
100%. Yeah,
Definitely a need. I wouldn't even say Okuda's great. You're gonna need a better guy than Okuda.
yeah, and
And with the money, that's tough. They might have to draft a guy. Draft might be heavy for the whole division this year. Who knows?
yeah. I think every team will draft a guy this year for sure.
I mean,
um, and I mean, yeah. There's no way they're bringing back what's his face, Desmond Ritter.
wow, I don't think so. I think at worst at quarterback I saw was Spencer Rattler that I've seen people say. I wouldn't even hate that.
I know you're high on Spencer.
I'm not high on him. I'm just not low on him like a lot of people are.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, he's only quarterback 7 on my board, so it's not like he's super high up there. But it wouldn't be terrible to pick him round 2 or 3. I don't think that'd be a bad pick at all. Probably around 3rd round pick, but I don't think it'd be a bad
What about
pick.
Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson, I did see that today. That would be phenomenal.
I don't know. I just thought about that.
I saw people talking about Russell Wilson to the Falcons, the Raiders, and the Steelers were the 3 names I saw.
No,
So
no. I don't want.
you don't want Russ?
Russell Wilson is he's bad. He's a bad quarterback.
And you want the Falcons to get him? That's not
Well,
nice.
I'm
What
just
did he
saying
wrong?
that just whoa, go Falcons.
Keep away.
Yeah. I'm just naming quarterbacks
Yeah.
here. I'm just a guy who's naming quarterbacks right now. They could go out get Joe Flacco.
Worst of the worst, like
Um,
Gardner
PJ
Minshew,
Walker.
Josh Dobbs, PJ
PJ
Walker,
Walker's a
yeah,
sleeper.
Jacoby Brissett.
Tua's brothers in this draft.
He didn't even get invited to the
Wait,
combine. Yeah, no, that's embarrassing.
this just proves the whole Tua Tagovailoa family is frauds. this proves that Tua is a fraud.
Always has. Even though he led the league in yards, he's a fraud.
Okay, when you have Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill and one of the best rushing offenses in the league, you don't have to be all that great to be a quarterback.
Well, I mean, you can say the same for a couple different quarterbacks in the league when they have great weapons. Joe Burrow,
injury prone.
You could also say Jalen Hurts. You also say
He has
Jalen
to prove
Hurts
himself still.
has great weapons. True.
Also, the thing about Joe Burrow, I was just saying injury prone because he doesn't get.
He's a foolish man.
Yes,
So.
that, and he just doesn't like people. I think I brought this up in the last episode. People talk about Lamar being injury prone and all these other guys being injury prone, but Joe Burrow has gotten injured several times over his career, and I don't know where I was going with this. Actually, never mind. I just went blank.
You're just saying because Joe Burrow gets hurt a lot, so do a lot of other people. So why are they saying these other guys are injury prone, but he isn't?
Yeah.
So I guess that's a fair. It's a fair thought point.
Yeah, and Joe Burrow is good. He's good. He is very talented. He is top 5 quarterback in the league.
For sure.
Yeah. But yeah. They can't really get anyone else.
No, they can't. I mean, it's kind of sad. They finished in the same spot for the past 3 years in a row, and then they finished a little bit higher than they did in 21, where they finished with I believe pick 4, and they picked Kyle Pitts, and then the past 2 years they were pick 8. It's just sad.
Yeah. Yeah, they just haven't been an all that great team. People are high on them. A lot of people have been high on them. I was high on them last year. I don't know if I'll make the same mistake. Because
Well, I think with the right moves they win the division.
yeah,
I can say it was a close race towards the end anyway.
they have the best odds, or in my eyes.
Yeah.
I'm just.
I mean, I could. Yeah, I agree with that.
I want to see best odds to win NFC South 2024.
I don't even know if they're probably not
Oh
even
my
out yet.
gosh!
What?
Oh wait, betting odds to win 20. Oh, this is 2023, 2024.
Oh, okay.
Never mind. It is. If you're wondering about last year's, it was Saints, Falcons, Panthers, Bucks were in dead last.
Really? Wow, that's.
I had the Bucks.
Wow.
I had the Bucks in last place, dude. I had the Bucks winning
I
4
don't know.
games, I think, or 3.
I'm trying to think. I think I was. Yeah, I admitted I was super low on them. I don't think I had them in last. I think I still had the Panthers in last.
Yeah.
But I was super low.
Yeah, I'm gonna look back at my predictions real quick for the.
My predictions don't exist anymore, unfortunately. I've lost the
they
notes.
erased. Oh.
Yeah, I accidentally got rid of them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I had the Bucks winning 6. I think from what I remember, I had them winning 6 games. I had the Panthers winning 4.
I had the Panthers. Okay, winning were the Saints. I had the Saints go 9-8. I liked Derek Carr. I liked Chris Olave, and I liked Michael Thomas. I liked that little duo and Alvin Kamara. And but I had the Saints winning, and then I had the Falcons at 8-9, and then I had the Panthers at 7-10. Then I had the Bucks at 5-12.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy turnaround for the whole division.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, it was pretty bad predictions, but hey,
They happen.
yeah,
I mean, I just predicted that the Saints would be a top 3 pick, so that could very well come back to bite me. I could be very wrong about it, or I could be right. Who knows? We'll revisit that for sure. But you never know.
yeah. Um,
Any thoughts?
no, I don't have any more thoughts on the NFC South.
Yeah. Um, Next week we thinking AFC South. I'd say just
Yeah,
continue
yeah.
with
Let's
the
continue with the
plan.
South. Nothing crazy. Um,
They do have that'll be a fun one. I think the whole division combines for the most money, free agency money. So there'll be a lot to talk about with those teams.
yeah, I think the AFC South will be very fun to talk about, as well as yeah. But do you have any more thoughts? This is a shorter
Uh,
episode.
yes, it was.
Um,
I hope y'all will tune in. Actually, I do have one more announcement. We will be posting also on Mondays and Tuesdays for the next couple weeks to get all this series out before free agency does happen in a couple
Monday,
weeks.
Tuesdays, and Thursdays are the 3 days. We might
Yes.
miss a day because we have a lot going, or I have a lot going on. I am moving, in the process of moving, but I will try my best.
Days might yeah. Days might get moved around a
Yes,
little bit.
but I will try my best and to post for us to post. So yeah, um, yeah.
I think that's
Thank you for watching another episode of the Drop Back Podcast, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
peace out.